Good morning, everyone. Like former Mayor James Hawley used to say, it's a great day in Portsmouth today. Absolutely. My name is Bruce Watts. I'm Vice President of Development and Chief Diversity Officer for Water Cooper Companies. Welcome to the groundbreaking for Bains Pointe, a 50-unit development at 1100 High Street. We're very honored today to be here. Thanks for juggling your schedules. We were supposed to be at 1100 High. We're now at 622 Effingham Street at Holly Point. The soil conditions there were not amenable for us to have the groundbreaking, but we're here, and we thank you all for being here. At this particular time, I'd like to bring to the podium Pastor Dr. Turner, Kevin Turner, to give the invocation. And he's a big supporter of affordable housing and been a big supporter of Water Cooper Companies through the years. Dr. Turner.
Thank you, Bruce. To the developers, our congressmen, mayor, city council, and to all our well-wishers, let us pray. Oh God, our help in ages past, our hope for years to come, our shelter from the stormy blast and our eternal home. We gather today in the spirit of reverence and with an attitude of gratitude. We stand just a few blocks away from where hope of a new habitation will rise. For the casting of this vision, for the collaboration of this community, for the commitment of many partners, Lord, we give you thanks. As we celebrate and honor the life and legacy of Eliza Bains, a woman whose courage, compassion, and commitment guided many to freedom, we thank you that the vision is now becoming a reality. We pray your blessings on the hands that will build it, the minds that have planned it, and the hearts that will serve because of it. May Bains Pointe be more than brick and mortar. Grant it to be a beacon of love, a shelter of peace, and a place where neighbors become family. May Bains Pointe forever be a place of opportunity, community, and refuge. May Bains Pointe mission forever provide dignity, security, and a promising future for all that will call this place home. We pray your blessings on each resident who will reside here. Grant them shelter, stability, and success. Provide them happiness, hope, and the warmth of your presence. May their home be a place of comfort and joy. Thank you for the Water Cooper Company, the generosity of investors, the labor of builders and planners, and for all who work to make housing a more affordable reality in Portsmouth. As we consecrate the grounds unto you, may their efforts be fruitful. May their work bring a lasting impact and be a testimony of your goodness, mercy, faithfulness for generations to come. In the name of the one who is highest in holiness, esteemed and excellent, and the quintessential example that we should all follow, we pray. Amen.
Thank you so much, Dr. Turner. We appreciate all your support that you've given us, and we look forward to building even a more promising relationship with you in the congregation. I would also like to recognize two of my colleagues that are going to be moderators today, Greg Mustrick and also Eric Wright. So these are my pitch hitters over here. I'm going to yank them when they're not doing right, and I'm going to put them in when they're doing great. So thank you all. To give you an overview of Bains Pointe, this is an $18.9 million development, 50 affordable apartments, 39 two-bedrooms, 11 three-bedroom apartments. We have luxury spaces laid out in these units, including quality furnishings, vinyl floors, plenty of storage area, energy efficiency that will reduce the cost of the energy for these apartments by about 30%. Bains Pointe is a 4-story development. We have an elevator in the building itself for our guests, and that's a great amenity to have. Several of the units will be set aside for the challenging impaired with disabilities. We will also have a community room that's set aside for our residents and also for special uses like weddings and baby showers and so forth. We will also have a supportive service office, a telehealth office, a fitness room, a laundry room. We will have washer dryer hookups in every unit. Outdoor amenities will include a playground and also a covered seating area. There will be on-site management, a maintenance tech person on the site, and we also will have a counselor, case management counselor on the site also at particular times. Again, this is going to be a affordable workforce housing development. Rents are going to be projected between $400 to $1,315 based on the unit size and incomes. We also afforded the opportunity to have a relationship with Portsmouth Redevelopment and Housing Authority, and they're going to provide 8 project-based vouchers for this project. We'd like to thank Ms. Elisa Winston. I think I saw her come in over there to my right, and Mr. Albert Williams. Elisa's been with us for a very long time, and we're fortunate enough to be on this property because of her leadership with the Portsmouth Redevelopment and Housing Authority. We purchased this property from them, and we appreciate the leadership that you all have given us. Today, we want to honor Eliza Bains. Eliza Bains was a pioneer and an innovator. If you look at the innovation district that we're building our development, it's very fitting that you all named that district an innovative district, and we named this project after her because she was a pioneer in the Underground Railroad. And if you think about the things that she did to help enslaved people move north through Portsmouth, it's just incredible. It's for us to tell the story, or for me to tell the story, it's not fitting. But the person that can tell the story to us is Miss White, Miss Claudette White, who's a professor at Old Dominion University, and she's also the vice president of the African American Historical Society for the city of Portsmouth. Miss White, if you could come to the podium and give a little story more about the great Miss Elsie Bains.
It's a little chilly out here. Thank you so much for having me. And as Mr. Watt said, I am with the African American Historical Society of Portsmouth. Our president is Charles Johnson. He wasn't able to be here today, so I'm filling in his place. But I do want to tell you a little bit about Eliza Bains. This is such a momentous occasion. This building that's being built is being named after a slave. That's huge. That's really big. Eliza Bains was, in fact, a slave. That was a little bit of a question whether or not she was enslaved, but in fact, she was. She's known as one of the 5 most notable African American women in the city of Portsmouth. Now, we're not certain about her date of birth and her date of death, which is not uncommon for African Americans, specifically for slaves. The records weren't kept, and some of the records were not accurate. She may have been listed as a slave owner's property as opposed to a person with a date of birth and a date of death. Now, Ms. Bains was definitely a notable person in the city of Portsmouth, and I'm just going to tell you a little bit about her work, what she did, how far it reached, and a little bit more about how she was able to accomplish it. She was a member of the Methodist Society, which later became known as Emmanuel AME Church, which I think you all are familiar with. What you may not know is that the church originally started in 1772, and there was a very suspicious fire later, and it burnt the church down, and it was rebuilt by slaves and other African Americans in 1857. At that time, it was renamed to Emmanuel AME Church. And with her being a part of that church, it's a very important part of her history and what she gave to Portsmouth. And I'm not sure if you all know, but Emmanuel was a very, very important part of the Underground Railroad. I was able to see the tiny little space where the slaves would hide while they're waiting for ships to come in and go out so that they could sneak onto these ships to get their way to freedom. Now, Ms. Bains, she was very instrumental in getting that information to the slaves as a part of the African American, as a part of the Underground Railroad. She would get information from the sea captains, and she worked at Crawford House Hotel. Now, this hotel was very notable back in the day. It was I guess you could say it was the foremost hotel. Even presidents stayed there, like Van Buren and Fillmore and Tyler. They all stayed there when they visited Portsmouth. And she had information, and she was privy to some information, and she was able to find out when the ships would be going out, and she would pass that information on to other people along the Underground Railroad. Now, if you don't know where Crawford House Hotel was located, it was demolished back in 1970, but it stood at the corner of Queen Street and Crawford Parkway. Now, according to Mae Breckenridge Haywood, she is one of the founders of the African American Historical Society of Portsmouth, and she's written a couple of books about African American history in the city of Portsmouth, one with Dr. Sandra Newby Alexander, and another with one of our former members, Dinah Walters. Unfortunately, Dinah passed away around this time last year. But they have become the foremost authorities on African American history in the city of Portsmouth. And that, according to May, she was a part of the Underground Railroad. She did a lot to get information to people who were going as far as Massachusetts. A lot of people from Portsmouth went up to New Bedford, Massachusetts, and to Boston, Massachusetts to meet up with family. I was able to find another article in the New England Quarterly by Wilbert Siebert, and he wrote about the Underground Railroad and said most of the fugitive slaves that passed through New England came on their way to Canada. They were seeking freedom going to Canada, and they came through Massachusetts, either through New Bedford or through Boston, and many of these slaves were fugitives from Portsmouth, Virginia, and that they were assisted on board vessels or to get on board the vessels by Eliza Bains. So her reach was far and it was wide. She wasn't just a Portsmouth hero. She was a hero to anyone along that Underground Railroad, along that path. She was a hero to many people. So I'm very excited about this project, and Woda Cooper, and thank you to the City of Portsmouth for having me as well. But I am very excited about it. The African American Historical Society of Portsmouth is always looking to preserve the history of the city and other areas, surrounding areas as well. Of course, I have applications with me. If you're not a member, just see me and I'll be glad to give you an application. We do have some vacant officer positions open if you're interested. Very specifically a grant writer, because it takes money for research and it takes time, and we could use all of you to help us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor White. You did an outstanding job telling the story of Eliza Bains, a story that clearly needed to be told. We thank you so much for that. Next on the agenda is the Honorable Mayor for the City of Portsmouth, two-term Mayor for the City of Portsmouth, Mr. Shannon Glover, the Honorable Shannon Glover.
This is one of those moments that we are here to celebrate. And just hearing the history, as I'm a history guy, I was very appreciative in understanding the commitment and the contribution that Ms. Eliza Bains made and gave to the city of Portsmouth. We are grateful. On behalf of the City Council of Portsmouth, some of my colleagues I saw were here. I see Vice Mayor Bill Moody. See you, Vice Mayor. Our council colleagues, Councilwoman Catherine Bryant, Councilman Vernon Tillage, and Councilman Mark Hugel. Did I miss anybody? Okay. And I'd like to also recognize all those other dignitaries that are here today, and Walter Cooper Group. You guys have done an amazing thing here with this wonderful facility right here, Holly Point, and we look forward to the continuation with Bains Pointe. So let me go ahead and make a few comments, and then I'll go ahead and take my seat. Thank you all for coming this morning to this important occasion. It is an honor to stand before you today at the ceremonial groundbreaking for Bains Pointe, which will soon become a vital part of our community. This development is not just another housing project. It is a commitment to the future of Portsmouth. It is a testament to our shared values, the dedication of our progress, and our unwavering belief in strength of community. Affordable housing is not just merely a need. It is a fundamental right. Every individual, every family deserves the opportunity to live in a safe, stable, and welcoming environment. By providing safe and stable homes, we lay the foundation for opportunity, growth, and success. And by the way, this new development is located in our Innovation District, which we have a lot of hope and promise for building out the future of Portsmouth. With this development, Bains Pointe, we are taking a monumental step. We are ensuring that people from all walks of life, singles, families, and seniors alike, have access to quality housing. 50 units being built right here specifically to serve those earning between 30% and 80% of the area median income. These are the hard-working residents, our neighbors, who may not have the financial resources to make and pay those market rate housing rates. Yet these citizens too deserve dignity and security. It will not only offer them a place to live, but also a sense of belonging. That's why we are proud to know that Bains Pointe also plans to offer on-site supportive services to help our citizens to gain the resources that they need, whether it's assistance with employment, education, healthcare, or community support. This development will be launched for individuals and families to reach their full potential. And perhaps, and most importantly, the name Bains Pointe carries a profound significance in our city. This community is named in honor of Eliza Bains, an extraordinary woman with an unsung history. She was courageous and she was a member of our community. She helped assisting enslaved people to gain their freedom through the Underground Railroad. And it is because of her efforts that countless individuals found hope, liberty, and freedom. So by naming this development Bains Pointe, we are honoring her legacy and acknowledging the fight for freedom, the continued fight for freedom, dignity, equality, which continues today. A community where everyone, regardless of their circumstances, has the opportunity to succeed and live with pride. On behalf of the citizens of Portsmouth, thank you all, Walter Cooper companies, project supporters, community members, all of those who have worked tirelessly to make this day possible. I look forward to watching Bains Pointe grow and to seeing the positive impact it will have on future generations in our great city. God bless Bains Pointe and Walter Cooper companies, and may God bless the city and the citizens of Portsmouth. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Again, thank you, Mayor Glover. You're doing an outstanding job with our city, and we thank you for all the efforts you're putting forth and the leadership that you bestowed upon us. The next person on our agenda is the Vice Mayor for the city of Portsmouth, and a good friend of mine who was with us for a very long time. When we first started Holly Point, he was one of the strongest council members that supported us. He's been on council for a number of years, and he's now the Vice Mayor for the city of Portsmouth. My good friend, Bill Moody.
Thank you, Bruce, and good morning to everyone. I'm excited about this for a couple of reasons. As Bruce mentioned, I was the deciding vote on Holly Point. It's not too often the council members, since it's 7 of us, you can point to one vote, and I've had a lot of votes in my 26 years on council. But this one will always be very important with me for a couple reasons. One, back when we voted on Holly Point, which was our first affordable housing project, we had 2 readings. The first reading, I voted against it, and the project would have been dead. But back then, we had 2 readings. In between, I had a number of people who supported the project, and one gentleman comes to mind. Let's call him Michael, and that is his name, Michael. And Michael has struggled with his own housing situation. Well, he contacted me after that vote, and in a heartfelt conversation with me, he convinced me, and he opened my eyes to the plight of a lot of people who can't afford housing. And so I thought about it, and on the second reading, I changed my vote. And the project went forward, and now we have Holly Point. So I'm extremely proud of that, but I'm also proud of Michael for contacting me, reaching out to me, and changing my heart, if you may. So that will stay with me for a long, long time. But today is about new housing, new opportunities, new beginnings for the people who will occupy Bains Pointe. And I want to thank Professor White for sharing the history, because I was not aware of Eliza Bains. So I thank you. History was my favorite subject in school. I won't mention the other subjects, but history was number 1 on my list, and so I'm very proud of it. Today is really about new beginnings and brighter futures for the families and individuals that will occupy Bains Pointe. So it's too early for a toast, but let's toast those families symbolically that will reside there, because that will represent brighter futures for all of them. So thank you very much. Thank you, Bruce, for putting me on the agenda. Vice mayors don't get this opportunity so much, so we got to take advantage of it. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. We really appreciate your leadership also. Now it gives me great honor to introduce the chairman of the EDA, Mr. Malcolm Mitchell. Mr. Mitchell, are you here? There we go. Can't miss him, the tallest man in the audience. But Mr. Mitchell, through his leadership, we were able to get the site that Bains Pointe is on now. That site was owned by the EDA. We own it now, but they own it when we negotiated. So we appreciate your leadership, and we thank you for being here today. And if you could come up and say a few words, we certainly would appreciate it.
First, I'd like to acknowledge some of my fellow commissioners, Commissioner Brown, Commissioner Harmon. Also would like to acknowledge the former chairman of the EDA, Mr. Ray Smith. I'll be brief. Good afternoon. Affordable housing is one of the key pillars of economic stability and social equity. Access to safe and affordable housing is not just a fundamental human need, it's a cornerstone of opportunity and growth. Let's begin with some important statistics. According to recent studies, nearly 30% of households in the United States spend over 30% of their income on housing costs, classifying them as cost burden. For renters, this figure is even higher, reaching 46%, highlighting the critical need for affordable housing solutions. Affordable housing provides much more than a place to live. It generates widespread benefits for families and communities. Research shows us that when families have access to stable, affordable housing, children's education improves. Secure housing is associated with higher academic performance and lower school absenteeism. Economic mobility increases. Families can allocate more resources to health, education, and savings, building a better future. Local economies thrive. For every dollar invested in affordable housing, it generates about $2.12 in economic activity, including jobs in construction, maintenance, and other services. Without affordable housing, we risk continuing cycles of inequality and poverty. On the other hand, well-planned, affordable housing developments reduce homelessness, foster diversity, and create healthier and more vibrant communities. Today, we are proud that the city of Portsmouth continues its legacy of offering housing choices that strengthen our local economy and builds a foundation for a more equitable future. Thank you.
If I could add just a couple of shout outs to the Economic Development Department. Brian Donahue, the director over there. Brian has been with us for at least 6 years in navigating us through these processes of affordable housing. You got a gem there as your director. He's one of the best that I've been around. Also like to thank the city chief, Chief Jenkins, and his department for helping us with Bains. We had a couple of issues there at the beginning, and he brought the team in to help resolve those issues. So I'd like to thank him and Captain Blackstone. Also like to thank the city attorney's office. The city attorney's office helped us with an issue we had with the site, and we're still working on that, David, but hopefully we'll get it resolved. The engineering department, the planning department, and the Dr. Russell, I don't know if she's here, but we thank you and your department for all that you've done also. So those are just a few departments. The permitting department, which we're getting permits now, it's a team effort, and we just want to thank all the players with the City of Portsmouth Mayor and all that they've done. At this time, I'd like to introduce you to Ms. Pamela Wilkins. Ms. Wilkins is the president of Westbury Civic League. And again, I believe in building relationships, and we built a very positive relationship with her. Their Civic League has their Civic League meetings, monthly meetings, in Holly Point here in our community room. And they've been a strong supporter of affordable housing, a strong supporter of Woda Cooper companies. So without any further ado, Ms. Wilkins, there she is. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone that's here in support of the Woda Cooper Company. They have really been a blessing to the city of Portsmouth. As he mentioned, this facility behind us, we was in full support of that because we're in full support of affordable housing because Portsmouth needs that. And we thank Woda Company, Cooper Company for answering that call. And they provided this facility. It's a very nice facility inside. They keep the grounds beautiful. The inside is beautiful. We have our Civic League meetings here, and it's a nice place. So I'm sure Bain's going to be just as nice as this place. And also, we're just thankful for that because they answered the call Portsmouth needed more affordable housing. And not housing, not a lot of low income housing. I don't have anything against low income housing, but we need affordable housing for people that are working and they may not be at the top of the medium income for the city of Portsmouth, but they need a nice place to live based on their income. And they answered that call with this facility here. So we know Bains is going to be just as nice. So we appreciate everyone that was in support of this, the financing part and all of that, to make this a reality for the city of Portsmouth. And not only for our residents, but we may have other people that work in Portsmouth but live in other cities and had to fight that tunnel. So if they can move here to a nice place, it'll be a plus for everybody. So again, I won't take too much time because I am a talker. I can talk. But again, I thank the Water Cooper Company for answering the call, and we're in support of whatever they want to do in the city of Portsmouth. Because we do realize we got a whole lot of land here that we need to do something with. Amen? Amen. Thank you. Have a good day.
Well, I tell you, when you got someone like Ms. Wilkins on your team, it's hard to get a no. She's definitely an asset to the city of Portsmouth. At this time, I'm going to pass the ball off to Greg Mustrick, Vice President of Development, and he's on the Virginia team and a strong colleague of mine that makes sure that we get things done right here in Virginia. So, Greg, it's your turn.
Thanks, Bruce. Thank you. Good morning. I'm Greg Mustrick, a Vice President with Woda Cooper Companies and longtime member of the Virginia team. I'm excited to be here today to celebrate another groundbreaking in Virginia. What we'd like to do now is recognize our funding partners for Bains Pointe, which as Bruce mentioned, represents an $18.9 million investment within the community. We could not build Bains Pointe without the allocation of housing tax credits by Virginia Housing. Each year, Virginia Housing selects developments in the Commonwealth based on its qualified allocation plan. This allows them to carefully determine which projects best fit the needs for expanded affordable housing in communities throughout Virginia. Here to say a few words on behalf of Virginia Housing is Ms. Stephanie Flanders, Director of Tax Credit Programs.
So good morning. I'm super excited to be here. Woda Cooper events are always such a joy to be at. Their development team, they really are the best of the best. I don't think that Bruce is going to have to pull them off for not doing what they said they were going to do, because they always deliver exactly what they say they're going to do. They go above and beyond. And we're so grateful to be part of this project with you all. So as Virginia Housing's Director of Tax Credit Programs, and just on a personal level an advocate for quality, affordable housing, I can appreciate how important Bains Pointe is to this community. At Virginia Housing, our mission is to help every Virginian attain an affordable, quality home. We have over 50 years of service to this mission. This includes working with our partners and stakeholders to support critical housing needs like Bains Pointe, which can truly spark the transformation of a community. Today, the city of Portsmouth continues its exciting journey to an even greater, more prosperous future, a future where everyone has access to a safe, modern, and affordable home. Bains Pointe is not only an opportunity to live in a high-quality, modern, and most crucially, an affordable home. It is an example of what is possible when we work together, and how, when we come together to truly invest in communities, what we can do. We're investing in a future where Bains Pointe and the surrounding neighborhood are more than just a place to live, but a platform for a better future. Before I conclude, on behalf of Virginia Housing, I want to recognize everyone involved in helping to reach this milestone. A huge thank you goes out to all of the partners in the community that supported that's here today. There's just a saying that I really like. It hangs in my office, and it's just, as we serve others, we're working on ourselves. Every word, every act, every gesture of genuine compassion naturally nourishes our own hearts as well. So thank you all for the opportunity to serve alongside you on this project. It really, truly nourishes my heart. So thank you and congratulations, and we look forward to what the future holds.
Thank you, Stephanie. Now, to transform the tax credits into equity financing, we need an investor. And for Bains Pointe, that investor is Truist Bank, who also provided the construction loan. I'd like to thank Truist for their outstanding and much needed support and invite Mr. Mark Johnson, Truist Senior Vice President and Community Development Manager for Virginia, to speak on behalf of Truist Bank.
Good morning. I'm not going to make that mistake and say good afternoon, even though it does feel like afternoon. My name is Mark Johnson again. Thank you. Senior Vice President and Community Development Manager for the state of Virginia. And I'd like to thank the Wooter Companies for the team for your partnership and having us here today. I also wanted to acknowledge our other attendees and distinguished guests, the Honorable Mayor Shannon Glover. Thank you for your continued partnership, as well as the City of Portsmouth, along with your councilwomen and councilmen, and the United States Congressman Bobby Scott for the incredible things that you do for the communities across Virginia. We know that access to quality, affordable housing has a positive impact on families and communities. Our focus on affordable housing centers such as Bains Pointe transforms our communities for the better. Today's groundbreaking is a reminder of the great opportunities that can result when public and private partners, as well as excellent development partners, come together to create much needed affordable housing for our communities. The Wooter Cooper team understands that needs on the ground and has a passion to serve communities. And this investment will only change the lives for 50 families who will be able to call this beautiful place home. Truist has also worked with the Wooter Company team on several successful projects. They are fantastic development partners and are committed to developing, constructing, and managing high-quality, affordable housing. On behalf of my Truist teammates who have worked on this project, Steve Smith, Colin Whitaker, Alicia Ackerman, and others, we look forward to partnering on the many more of these projects with the Wooter team. I also would be remiss that I have one of my other partners here today, our Vice President and Branch Manager for our 150 West Main Street branch, Terrell Calloway. Thank you. At Truist, our purpose is to inspire and build better lives in communities. We believe that there is no better way to demonstrate our purpose than to invest in affordable housing in communities like Portsmouth and throughout the Commonwealth of Virginia. Truist has been proud to serve communities across Virginia for decades, and we are especially proud to honor the legacy of Eliza Bains for her heroic work. Our role in Bains Pointe is part of Truist's continued commitment to investing in affordable communities across the Commonwealth of Virginia. On this project, Truist provided just over $28 million in project finance, including the construction loan and tax credit equity. Truist has committed more than $334 million to support affordable housing in the state of Virginia since 2023, and we are still going strong. Thank you again for having us today, and more importantly, for the opportunity to partner in such a meaningful and purposeful project. Congratulations to all the partners that made this possible, and to the many residents who will thrive in this new community. Thank you.
Thank you. In addition to equity financing, our developments also have permanent debt. We have two primary lenders at Bains Pointe. One is Cedar Rapids Bank and Trust, who provided the first permanent mortgage for Bains Pointe, and also for Holly Point. To speak for the bank, please welcome Mr. Michael Gert, Vice President of Specialty Finance Group.
I didn't check the watch. I don't know if it is morning or afternoon yet, so I'll just say hello all. Really excited to be back in Portsmouth. I've been here a number of times over the last few years. Again, my name is Michael Gert. I'm with Cedar Rapids Bank and Trust. We work hand in hand with many developers across the country, specifically focused on affordable housing or light tech projects like the beautiful one you see behind us, or the even better one that's going to be built, known as Bains Pointe. There really is no one better on the development side than David and his team at Woda Cooper. If you haven't taken a look inside this building, I'd encourage you to, if that's allowed, hopefully. But it's not just an apartment building. These aren't apartment complexes. They're homes for people. It's what they come home to after a long day of work. It's where their kids, grow up and play in the park. And it really transforms the community. There's a lot of buildings, as we look around that could use some love, and it's got to start somewhere. And so projects like Holly Point and Bains Point can be exceptionally transformational for communities, and we're happy to play just a small part in that. So appreciate the opportunity to come out here and take part in yet another transformational project in your guys' beautiful community. Again, I'll say that David and his team at Woda Cooper, they build quality affordable housing. It's not just affordable housing. It's going to look really good for a really long time, and something that the residents can be proud of, come home to after a long day of work, raise their family here, and for many generations to come. So congratulations again. If you look down the list, the amount of people and agencies and partnerships it takes just to get to this point is 2, 3, 4 years in the making, if not more. So don't take this for granted. Don't take it lightly. And excited to be back here in just a few short months for the grand opening of Bains Pointe. Thank you.
Our other primary lender who provided a second and third mortgage is Virginia Department of Housing and Community Development. I'd like to introduce Mr. Bill Curtis, the Assistant Director for the DHCD, to say a few words.
Well, good morning, and it is still morning. Yeah. I am Bill Curtis, the Assistant Director, and I bring greetings from Brian Horn, who is a director of the agency. He couldn't be here. We're in session right now, so everyone's fast and furious up there in Richmond. But it is my pleasure to be here, and we're excited to support the amazing and ongoing affordable housing efforts taking place in Hampton Roads, improving the housing options and quality of life for everyone who calls this region home. Multiple state resources have been put into incredible use on this project, including a combined $1.8 million from the Virginia Housing Trust Fund and the National Housing Trust Fund through DHCD, low-income housing tax credits through Virginia Housing, and a whole host of other private investors. With the support of these and other efforts, you're creating a beautiful, affordable, accessible community for people and families to call home. And this is not just a success story for those who call Bains Pointe home. It is an achievement for the Portsmouth community at large, whose most vulnerable population will have more opportunities to thrive. You will not only be increasing the stock of affordable housing, you have created a place for people to call home, complete with a support system and a sense of community. It is truly a remarkable achievement, and of course, none of these efforts would have been possible without the commitment and hard work of so many partners, both in development and within the community. I would like to thank the City of Portsmouth for recognizing the importance of this project and committing to its success. I would like to thank the nonprofit organization STOP Incorporated for their partnership, collaboration, and additional support in serving incoming residents and developmental disabilities. As an aside, I, for a number of years, was the chairman of the board of directors at STOP, so I was very pleased to hear that they're involved with this, along with Bay Aging. Community action agencies are absolutely critical, and they provide the wraparound services that are so necessary. So that was very pleasing for me. I would like to thank the downtown Portsmouth community for making this project possible and for being key stakeholders throughout this process. No one understands a community quite like those who call it home, and your role in shaping this project is paramount to creating a community that serves you and includes your unique voices. Your efforts and support continues to be an outstanding example of how crucial community participation is to any development effort, and I encourage you to stay engaged as your neighborhood continues to reimagine itself into a thriving community that you deserve. And last, I'd like to thank Woda Cooper Companies for committing to their mission to developing, constructing, and managing high-quality, affordable housing. Now, this was the first time DHCD has had the pleasure of funding one of your affordable housing projects, but we look forward to fostering this partnership again in the future. Increasing the safety, availability, and quality of affordable housing throughout the Commonwealth is intrinsic to the mission of the Department of Housing and Community Development. And I go all over the state at similar events, groundbreaking ribbon cuttings, and it's just a thrill to see the faces of the people who will be the people taking advantage of living in these facilities. And they take a moment at times to come up and tell me, some with tears in their eyes, how thankful they are. So please don't underestimate or diminish what you've done here, that you're doing here. You've done already, and you'll be doing in the future. Thank you very much.
Next up, I'd like to introduce Eric Wright, who's an Assistant Vice President with Woda Cooper Companies.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm Eric Wright, like Greg said, Assistant Vice President with Woda Cooper, and work closely with Greg and Bruce on our development team here in Virginia, working to expand the affordable housing options across the Commonwealth. I'm up here today to talk to you guys about one of the elements of Bains Pointe that we're most excited about, which is the supportive housing component. It's part of our mission across our footprint to serve not only those working families earning up to 80% of the area median income, but also the most vulnerable residents of the communities that our developments are in. And we're grateful here in Virginia to have Virginia Housing and DHCD and DBHDS that place a real emphasis. They see the need for supportive housing and prioritize it and create the policy to make developments like Bains happen. So Bains Pointe, we've got 8 units that are dedicated to supportive housing. Those units are targeted to residents that are exiting homelessness, at risk of becoming homeless, or face multiple barriers to independent living, such as a disability. We're going to have those 8 units are receiving project-based rental assistance. So I want to again recognize the Portsmouth Redevelopment and Housing Authority for providing that rental assistance. That commitment really does make a development like this possible, so thank you. Also, of course, targeting that population, it's important to provide supportive services, to wrap around. It's not just about the housing. And so as Mr. Curtis mentioned, those community action agencies are fantastic partners to work with, and so we're so excited to be working with Stop Inc. on this project. They're going to be coordinating all the supportive services for not just the 8 supportive housing units, but for all the residents that need them. So providing case management services, financial literacy, employment services, and those services wrapping around the stable housing, I think provides a really fantastic foundation for all our residents to achieve their goals. So I want to thank the STOP team. I know I saw Tyrone Sessoms was here, and Regina Lawrence, I don't know if she's here, but she was instrumental. The former president and CEO was instrumental in bringing this project to fruition. So thank you to STOP. Together with STOP, we actually applied to and participated in the 2023 Supportive Housing Institute, which was a training provided by the Corporation for Supportive Housing, CSH. So we had people from development, management, and from STOP all were able to participate in that together and kind of learn all the latest and greatest best practices when doing a supportive housing development like this. So I see Jillian Fox from CSH in the back there, and want to thank that whole team. They've been fantastic to be able to draw on their years of knowledge and expertise working on a development like this. And lastly, I just wanted to recognize Region 5 Community Services Board Collective, who who sponsored that Supportive Housing Institute, made it happen, and also provided a grant to offset some of the development costs associated with this development. So thank you. I'm glad you all could come.
Thank you, Eric. Appreciate those comments. And again, I would like to thank the STOP organization. They've been a tremendous partner with us. And Miss Regina Lawrence is now retired, but she a strong supporter of what we do with Woda Cooper. At this particular time, I'd like to recognize 2 of our United States senators, the best in this country, Senator Mark Warner. He's represented by Aaron Carter. Aaron, where are you? Thank you for coming. And Senator Tim Kaine, my good friend Diane Kaufman. Thank you for coming. We certainly appreciate all the support that the senators have given us over the years, and please give them our regards, and hopefully they'll be at the ribbon cutting when we do the grand opening for Bains Pointe. At this time, I'm going to introduce the best congressman in the United States of America, Mr. Bobby Scott, the Honorable. From Congress since 1993, he's served on so many committees: Judiciary, Labor, Crime, Terrorism, Homeland Security. He's never missed a groundbreaking. He's never missed a grand opening. This is our 6th development in his district, over $70 million. And Congressman Scott brings home the bacon for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Bruce, for your very kind words, and good morning. Good morning. At this point in the program in Washington, D.C., I think we have a saying that is frequently recited, and that is that all that needs to be said has already been said. However, all that needs to say it haven't already said it. Yeah. And so it's good to be here with the mayor and members of City Council and other officials as we break ground for the new Bains Pointe. Yogi Berra was given a great award one night and said to the crowd that he wanted to thank everyone who made tonight's ceremony necessary. And so today's ceremony is testament of the partnership between Woda Cooper Companies, the City of Portsmouth, Virginia Department of Housing and Redevelopment, Portsmouth Redevelopment and Housing, the financing partners, the community organizations. So I want to congratulate all of you for making today's ceremony necessary. It is. Now, everyone here is aware that we have an affordable housing crisis in America. Too many people getting squeezed by high costs. The lack of affordable housing affects community well-being, economic stability, and social equality. You know that rising costs and stagnant wages have left millions of people struggling with rent burdens, forcing them to pay, as we've already heard, higher portions of their income towards rent, forcing difficult trade-offs between housing and other necessities. Thankfully, however, we are not here to do what I call celebrate the problem. We're here to do something about it. Now, one of the tools we have at our disposal are the low-income housing tax credits. This remains the federal government's most effective tool for addressing the housing crisis. It has incentivized private sector investment to develop and preserve affordable rental housing, contributing to the creation and rehabilitation of over 3.7 million units nationwide. And we know it works because it's exactly what has played out here today and allowed the construction of Bains Pointe to add 50 new units to that total. So thank you, Bruce, for your work. As has been pointed out, this is not the first one in the 3rd District. In fact, there have been many, and I've tried to make every one. And we're continuing the tradition of naming the facilities after historic figures. We're arguing about whether they ought to be named after, things ought to be named after Confederates. Well, we have Professor White has indicated who this is named after. That one's named after. This one is named after Mayor Holly, who's a dentist and longtime mayor. One in Norfolk after George Banks, who was informally known as the mayor of Berkeley, longtime activist, member of the Norfolk NAA, president of the Norfolk NAACP, people whose names we should be remembering. And so thank you for that, for that tradition. So Bains Pointe is going to provide important housing opportunities for residents of Portsmouth that demonstrates the power of collaboration between public and private sectors in tackling affordable housing. And so I want to congratulate and again applaud everyone here who has made today's ceremony necessary. Thank you so much.
Okay, we're getting near the finish line here. I'd like to give a couple of recognitions to our state representatives. State Senator Louise Lucas, who's also the President Pro Tem for the state of Virginia, and our House Speaker, the Honorable Don Scott. Also Representative Cliff Hayes. So without any further ado, I've got the President and leader of Water Cooper Companies, Mr. David Cooper, coming to the podium. And he is also an avid Dodger fan. So am I. A lawyer by trade, our leader, David Cooper Jr.
Thank you all for being here today. I will also be brief in my remarks. I just want to say a little bit about our company. So this year is our 35th year in business, dedicated to affordable housing. And one thing that's maybe a little bit different about our company than other companies like us is after 35 years, we don't sell properties. So my partner, Jeff Woda, and I have the way our properties are financed. We've got an investment partner. And everyone that has reached the end of our compliance period, we've bought out that partner, and we've done that over 100 times. And we've kept these properties as affordable properties in the community, and we've maintained our commitment to the community where we built it. We haven't sold it off to somebody. We haven't converted it into some other use. We've always kept these properties as affordable housing. And it takes a real, and it's not just the two of us. It takes a dedicated team of people to make that happen. So across our company, we've got 740 employees who show up to work every day dedicated to affordable housing, and we always say don't judge us by a building when we cut the ribbon on it. Judge us 5 years later, 10 years later, 15 years later. And our construction team knows that there is no warranty period on a building. If we reach 5, 6, 7 years out, we need to do work on the building, we do it because we've made the commitment, and it's important to us to honor that. So I particularly want to recognize today a couple of our team members. First, Karen Bernick organizes all of our events, so thank you, Karen, for putting this event together today. And then our management team really works hard. What you see behind you is a beautiful building. It stays that way because Mika Denard, who I think was here somewhere, who's our senior regional manager, and her team really put in time, effort, and commitment to keep properties beautiful and take care of those for everybody. So I want to thank Congressman Scott for being here today. Really appreciate it. Mayor Glover, thank you for being here. Director Flanders, thank you for being here. I did enjoy the remarks of Professor White. There's an alternate universe where I would thought about becoming a history professor. That was my undergraduate major. So really appreciate you coming today. So I want to say, in conclusion, there are a lot easier ways to build something than working in the affordable housing program. As you heard today, it requires huge commitment from the federal government, the state government, the local government, financing partners, state agencies to create a property. And it's because our dedicated employees at Woda Cooper Companies show up every day to work, and they bring a very heavy dose of compassion and empathy. And those are not always human emotions that come to the forefront, but to work in affordable housing, that's what you've got to bring to work every day. And we really appreciate the commitment of our team to provide those emotions every day and bring them to work. And it shows up in properties like this, and it will in Bains Pointe. So I appreciate our team and everyone who's here today. Thank you very much. And I think I'm the last thing standing between everyone and lunch. And I do hope everyone's able to join us for lunch.